What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel, Connor on Chains. So, many things I want to talk about today, just over the last few days. Again, market continues to dump, continues to nuke. In my last video, I was literally waiting for a short setup, never actually hit, and now we are back down, or not back down, but we are down to around 53 to 54K. I don't know if I called for this exactly in the last video or somewhere around 56, 55, but like I've been saying, guys, the momentum is extremely bearish right now on Bitcoin. Altcoins are still getting crushed, but I'm going to cover a couple of things as well. Again, I'm still very, I love how I say I'm very bullish, like literally every single time, but yeah, we just continue to dump, continue to go lower. This market is just, it's very unpredictable sometimes, but I mean, looking at strictly TA, it's very reasonable to consistently bearish right now in this market until we see some sort of heavy sign of reversal. But outside of what I was saying right there, I'm still very much so bullish and continuing to look to buy into more dips and more dips and more dumps. It's going to continue probably for a little while, but if we zoom out though, as far as where price of Bitcoin could actually go, I genuinely don't think we are going to go too much further than where we currently have already gone. We hit, about 49,000. At least for Bitcoin, it's hard to know, because generally we have probably one of the most large high time frame support levels, if you want to call it, all the way to 30K. That's in between this general area. But I don't think there's absolutely any way price is ever going to get this low unless we're in another bear market. Even though, even looking at the other cycle, we came all the way back down, tested this area 3 times, bounced up from here, but I don't think we're not going to pull a 2021 cycle right here. But outside of that, we have a little bit of, I don't know if you want to consider this around 40K, mid 40K, some sort of support. I'd probably put you'd probably just call anywhere around this general area support. Some people would call the tops of this in this, minor support. I would probably just consider this general chop area, because like right here, there's really nothing but air in this like area of price, right? Until we get to this chop around 44, 45. Could be another support area. But I still think in the current market at some point, I'm literally just waiting for, again, this indicator, whatever you want to call this, it might look ridiculous to you guys, but I'm waiting for a clear daily break and a push back up to kind of cancel out a lot of this momentum. And again, this is definitely not like the most super technical based thing to look at, but what I've found in crypto and watching Bitcoin and ETH and Sol and a lot of altcoins is when there's heavy momentum in a certain direction, crypto tends to follow that momentum very, very heavily. You could draw the same exact thing here, and this is where I looked for shorts about 2 separate times. First time I missed it. No, first time it actually never hit because it didn't come up far enough. Second time I was sleeping when it hit. Let me show you guys just here. I mean, you can kind of look at it in the same idea, same light. It's just price is bouncing. You can consider this like a support or a resistance level here, and it just keeps consistently bouncing and following it until it eventually just goes straight down. And it works the other way too, straight up, same thing. This here followed support. Momentum was very bullish right here until we had a push up. Even though it just went straight down. It's very odd. I know a lot of people might not look at a chart that way, but I focus a lot on momentum when I look at charts. Like I said, I think we're getting to the lows of some sort of momentum here. For Bitcoin to not have some sort of bounce, at least in the coming few days, maybe about a week, I think it would be kind of crazy to just have, because from here, if we don't see a bounce and it doesn't continue to follow this, it's literally going to continue at least to around 50K, probably back to these lows in the short term. So again, I would like to see if it's going to do it. It's probably going to go something like this until it has like a bounce. It's not going to be this heavy, but it's going to break this clearly, and we're going to start to see whether it's a reversal or another double bounce into a shift of momentum back up. So for the time being, currently Bitcoin is still in free fall / doing whatever it's got to do right now in the short term. And like I said, it's hard to know, especially at levels like this. Probably not the best area to be looking for shorts when we've already dumped I don't know how many times, and we're literally coming into a lot of bullish momentum going forward. So outside of that, I did want to cover a few things, because there have been outside of all of this volatility, there have been a few very solid projects, like new launches on ETH that have launched. Yeah, new launches on ETH that have launched, right. But this is Husby. This one is actually really cool. And again, before I even get into these are not buy signals. You guys should not be buying into coins right now, especially when they've pumped and they're already moving a lot. And the simple fact that usually when coins launch on ETH, a lot of times they will last maybe 4 or 5 days, upwards of a few weeks of continuously going up. But if you guys have not seen my videos on how I watch for meme coins, and it works for a lot of different coins, basically anything that is a new launch, this is in a hype phase right now. At some point, this will not sustain. It's not going to sustain much longer. And again, it's not for any reason like it's bearish, anything like that. Bottom line, I'm just telling you guys, you probably should not be looking at these as a buy. Like these projects were just very interesting to me, and I'm going to show you guys like why I jumped into them and I called this one specifically, I think around 500K. So it's actually been doing fairly well in the short term. And the other two that I watched and I found, same thing, ended up pulling 5 to 10x's over the span of like a few days. But I just want to jump into it, show you guys why I saw these and even thought about calling them, as far as how bad the market sentiment is, how we actually have some coins that have moved to the upside. Both Husby here, we got again, when it comes to a lot of these brand new launches on ETH, you have to treat them a lot differently than you treat your conviction bags or these other projects. But the reason is because, especially when projects launch, most of these projects that I like to find are, I don't want to call them stealth launches, but they're launched with very low liquidity, low market cap. They're micro cap coins. Some of them will launch at 10K, 20K market cap, sometimes 100, 200K, because they launch and they'll have no followers, very little amount of followers, little of anything. So it's extremely high risk right off the bat, before you even look at what the coin is, because I have a lot of, I call them degen calls, which they're way more high risk, but a lot of times they end up turning out really well, because when any coin launches, usually in the short term, if they launch at low market caps, low attention, as a coin starts to get that attention when it's newly launched at the bottom, that's what makes a coin gradually continue up. That's why you see a lot of coins when they launch, they'll have charts like this, just a huge candle, like a lot of pre-sales look like that, because all the hype has already been extracted from the entire space, right? So there's no people now that aren't aware of it, that aren't looking to actually buy it. So it just ends up doing something like this. I swear at least 70, 80%, 90% of pre-sales on really any token. It could be utility coin, a meme coin, almost all of them from launch. If they are not, a stealth launch, something like this, they're going to just have those charts. Huge, literal candle on the day that it launches, and it ends up just dumping for 3 months after that. So something like this, again, it launched at a few hundred K. But again, the reason why I like this one specifically, I'm not trying to, talk 10 minutes on one project here, but the thing is, when you're looking for brand new launches, is you want to find coins. Again, you want to find something that looks really good, whether, clean website, really strong social media presence, good branding. You don't want to find something that looks like it was created with, Mid-Journey, and they put two pictures on, a website and call it, a coin. Because bottom line, you're basically betting on, in the short term, when a coin launches, you're betting on, an actual team and an actual product, whatever it is, really being born at the literal smallest market cap that it can be. And that's why it's so high risk. But with Husby, what they did is biogas powered mining, innovative energy saving tech. Like, they had they kind of doxed that they have a literal facility and location for what they claim to offer and build, and it seems really interesting. They got pretty good social media presence, and literally from the time of launch, to me it just seemed different than a lot of other launches. But again, main thing is you want to find transparency from them, which I'm trying to find a tweet, because they had a great tweet just showing some sort of transparency literally on like day 2, because again, this is something that they posted, and someone claimed that this here specifically was like, oh, it was a video taken from some random facility in some random country. Which, things like that is like, you literally have to think like that when you're looking at these, because these are brand new launches, aka some random person or group of people just build a Twitter account, they build a website, and they can call it a coin. That's what that's where the risk comes from, because if you can spot a coin that when it launches is not that kind of person, it's some random, kid in his bedroom launching a coin, and creating a Twitter account, making it look like a project for 2 days, and then slow rugging it, like selling all the supply, like shit like that. That's the thing that you have to really decipher when it comes to these new launches. But this one, right off the bat, again, seeing their social media presence, their transparency, literally a day or two after launch, I think was a good sign to take that risk to actually jump in and call it down here. It's actually been performing pretty well. It hit over 4 million yesterday, and it's still going. But again, things like this, when you start to see, like, we're getting on a 4-hour chart, we're still in some higher highs, higher lows. Higher highs been bouncing. I'd say maybe best case, we do get one more push to the upside before the chart ends up doing this. A lot of maybe not insiders, but people that invested really early that have been holding, they're going to sell, whether they made a 3x, 5x, 10x. A lot of people holding will sell supply, probably going to dump, might have a recovery, and then eventually it's just going to trend down. That is the risk when it comes to new launches, because most coins will end up doing this. And especially in a sentiment as trash as right now, the fact that a lot of new launches actually have been running is crazy to me. And I'm going to show you guys just another coin, right? just to give you guys like a perspective of, again, how I just look at stuff when I see brand new launches. And a way that you can look at new launches, you just want to go to new pairs on Ethereum. And, eventually certain coins will update their decks. And then you can kind of check it out from there too. But another one was Unreal. So this one, initially I first saw this at about, I think 230K. And again, I'm not trying to tote. Oh, look at all these calls. Look at all the like bro. I don't care like when I get in. I'm trying to show you guys just perspective of like why why I would find these at these low levels and take the risk. But I saw this initially the first few hours, for 6 to 8 hours it launched. Yeah, I think it was right here before it started moving. But this one again, I did not actually full out call it. I brought this up probably 3 days in a row because I was like, you know what, this looks like it's gonna be pretty good. But this one actually, if I initially called it when I first found it and talked about it in the chat, would have been technically a 10x. But this one again, to me, the reason why I loved this one, again, same thing. There's always a risk that the team behind it is one random dude sitting in his room, planning on rugging someone or I don't even know what I'm saying, bro. But again, the risk for it is extremely high. But one of the reasons why I felt like it was a great gamble basically to jump into it was mainly the social presence. You can see how high quality that at least the team is trying to show. Like they're trying to make it seem like they are a very high quality project from day one. Whether it's actually true that they are going to be one that sustains and takes some time to keep building and then build into a phenomenal AI project. That's just going to be us seeing this with time. But this was a really interesting one because, again, I think they have pretty good branding as far as for socials. You can tell that they're actually putting some sort of effort into all their posts. That's a huge factor when it comes to new launches, because especially if like a team launches and they only have 3 tweets and they take 2 days to tweet, usually that coin's going down. It's going to zero within like 12 hours. But if they tweet multiple times a day, usually it's a very bullish factor. Every single coin is going to have a post like this. Like, yeah, we're listing on CoinGecko. They're going to have a post, about their functionality, utility. But again, from day 1, day 2, day 3, they're keeping up this kind of branding. These posts, they're trying to make high quality stuff, again, to make it look like they are a good project. Again, that's how you got to think about it. Maybe this is, we're looking at a future $200 million project here, right? But from the perspective of right now, because it's so new, we don't know the team, we don't know anything that's actually established behind who has actually, created this. You have to treat it like, you have to be very skeptical going into anything. And again, when you got to treat newer projects like you got to treat it as if they are only in their hype phase. And if you guys have not seen that video, I'm going to link it above. When a coin launches on ETH, on Sol, anywhere, coins will consistently just from launch, if they launch at a very low market cap, they launch with very low attention. Over that span of time, whether it's a few days, a week or two, coins will go into an up-only state for a while. And I don't know if this one is going to continue from here. This one might be over. It might try, it might fail and come back down. Maybe it has one more leg up to about $3 to $5. I don't know. I'm not trying to make this video any sort of buy signal, even though this is actually, it looks pretty good. But again, in market conditions like this, buying a little bit higher than initially when I would have wanted to, I think it'd be, I think it's really pushing it right now, because this could easily pull something like this. you know, and then it just dies out, and that's it. That's what I mean about the risk with this is they will go up only for a little while until they don't, and it's very hard to decipher when that next higher high, higher low is going to be made, then the next high is going to be made, and then usually it's going to pull back again, but then that pullback sometimes doesn't go up. It doesn't make a new high, comes back down, bounces, and then, sometimes it nukes. It's very hard to tell, which is why you got to treat new launches like this most of the time as like an in and out play. You cannot be just buying something at launch, holding it, and expect to hold it for 4 months and it's gonna, do a 50x. That from what I've seen in my experience, watching, I don't know, probably thousands of new launches over the span of the last couple years on ETH, they just don't do that. Anything that launches goes up for a short period of time, it will dump for a longer period of time until, whether a coin has now been out for a few weeks, a few months, maybe 2 months, maybe this coin goes up, goes down, maybe it sits flat for like, a month. And then when Bitcoin starts to move up, ETH starts to move up, in a month from now, when this is already down bad, if it's sitting, let's say it's sitting at like 30, 40 cents, right? It tried, failed, and it's, it's dead, right? All the way through October. If the team is still delivering, this is where you go back in, check on it again. And this is where, actual gems will start a run. Is they'll go through this hype phase. They're going to die out. And then they're going to probably flatline. Or, sometimes they'll just chill. They'll kind of sit and consolidate for a while. That is going to be the time when the volume and hype is gone, or at least like the launch hype is gone from it. That's when you want to reassess a project. And let's say again, if they're consistently posting, 4 times a day, high quality content, they're making good partnerships, whether maybe the team doxes themselves, a lot of different random factors. They update their website to make it a lot more transparent, this and that. That is when it, if a coin's down bad and then you check it out again, and you're like, yo, this team is really delivering still. Like, they're actually killing it, That is when you're probably going to have the highest risk to reward to be jumping into an actual gem that will eventually have a sustained run. Because now once this launches, dies out, consolidates for a while, once people pick up on it again, it will actually start another major run from there. A coin will never, at least 95% of coins, they will never just have an up-only run unless they launch at like in the middle of, super euphoric times, right? Like if you guys, like for an example, like this coin is never just going to continue to go like this. It's not going to just go, up only, all through October, November, yep, up only. December? Yeah, we're going to keep going. It's not going to do that. Coins will never just go up only like this. And if they do, consider yourself very lucky if you catch that, because that is near impossible to catch. So most coins, when they launch, they got to launch, lose their hype first, for then people to eventually come back around to them and then rediscover them, notice that they're still killing it from a the team perspective, utility, whatever it is. And that's when a real run would start with any coin, in my opinion. So outside of that, these are just 2 launches. I kind of just rambled a lot there, but... And actually, this one's kind of... That's wild. It's still trending because I guess they got this new deck screener function. It's like a boost or something right here. So that's cool. But like I said, this is not a buy signal for either of these coins. Just want to show you guys how I'm looking at a lot of these. Again, you just want to decipher. If you're looking at brand new launches, you need to be able to decipher what a good project versus a bad one looks like. All you got to do, maybe not all you got to do, but easiest way is check the website, Twitter. If they don't have a website or a Twitter, instantly stay away. If they got high quality stuff on Twitter, it looks really professional. You can check their contract as well. Sometimes contracts don't look very safe, but at the end of the day, sometimes, I usually try to check contracts too. But as long as the holder count's not insanely bad, like one wallet's not holding 40% of supply. If it's fairly distributed as well, that's also a pretty good factor. But mainly Twitter website looks good, and I mean like really good. It's got to be very high quality. It can't just be some dinky ass website. It's got to be fairly solid. For this one, I don't know if anyone here would consider this an insanely good website, but to me this looks somewhat decent. I wouldn't say this is the best website, but the main thing with Husby here was their Twitter and social media presence. They were very transparent on the timeline. A lot of people even brought FUD straight to them on their posts, claiming one thing or the other. They literally addressed it live on Twitter, which is a great thing, So, an Unreal, I actually don't even remember what this website looked like, but I do remember it was pretty good actually, but Unreal AI, though, same thing. Their Twitter presence to me instantly, gave me a lot of confidence because of how high quality that their tweets are, their social presence is, right? And again, whether it's a scam or not, or ends up being a scam or not, for the time being, from when we got in to when we would have gotten out, we made a good move because, again, we're taking that risk that it does look good. Whether it is a scam or not, we're still just playing on that idea, right? That's how you have to treat new launches on Ethereum. Just launches on ETH are way different than Sol. But again, that's kind of just what I wanted to bring up today, because sometimes, guys, you'll have random runners in the middle of like a bear market type thing, the middle of a down only season. You'll have new launches still doing stuff, But outside of that, guys, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks.